Hey everybody, welcome back. It is another video here in our Visual Basics series of videos. In this video, I'm going to show you some of the other behaviors that you can work with in your Visual Basic programs. We're going to make a little game, if you want to call it a game, called Catch Me If You Can. So I'm going to walk you through some of the some miscellaneous things that we can talk about with buttons and forms. So, if desktop, catch me if you can, check the box, make sure that's good, create. Let's get this set up the way we want it to be set up. All right, so here's my form. Let me pin my toolbox. Let me open Solution Explorer. Just close it again. I feel like I did that in the other video. Let's go with Solution Explorer. Push pin that little into place. Okay. Now let's take about our form here. We have catch me if you can under our forms text. I'm going to scroll back up to back color. And I'm going to choose a color here. Let's go with, I feel like I always end on the purples. Let's go with light sky blue today. Why not? All right, so some other things that we haven't really done yet. Well, we have done this, the size. I'm going to make this a particular size. I'm going to go with a size of, let's go with 1,000 by, let's go with 800, let's say. So not quite a square, but roughly square-ish. So that's going to set our size to be a particular thing. Now, of course, I could resize this if I wanted to, and the thing is, when I run the program, I also can resize it. So what happens if I want to make a program where I can't or won't be able to resize the window? Well, there's a property for that, which is sort of like the theme of Visual Basic. There's a property for that. You go back up here to the F, and you go to Form Border Style. Now, why it's not just called border style, I don't know. But it's the form border style, and you see it's sizable. I'm going to open that up, and here are some different options. If you go to none, I don't recommend that because now you've completely lost the ability to close the form. So none would be there's no border, no minimize, no maximize, nothing. Don't recommend that one. Other options, you have a fixed single. So this, looks like that. Fixed 3D just makes it, for lack of a better word, puffed out a little more. 3D, I guess. A fixed dialog, you lose the icon in the top left corner. So, I mean, all of these are, pretty minor changes. Of course, sizable is what we did before. Fixed tool window. Tool window, it loses the ability to minimize and maximize. You still have the close button, there's no icon. And then a sizable tool window is the same thing, except instead of fixed, you can resize it. So the one that I'm going to pick a fixed tool window. Now, if I just run it real quick to show you what happens here, I no longer am able to minimize, maximize. I can't resize it. Like, see, I'm on the corner here and it's not opening up the resize things. It is this size. So this is an ideal setup for if you're making a game where you want to have like a fixed single screen, to make it a fixed tool window. Okay. So next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click on the form and I'm going to go into form load and I'm going to say randomize to set up my random numbers. You'll see why we're going to need that here in a moment. Next, I'm going to go back to design, so I can either go to view design or just go to tab for design, either one. And I'm going to do a button. Just double click, make a little button. I'm going to put it in the top left corner. Okay. Now, my button, I want to be a particular size. Under size, I'm going to open this, and let's go with 75, which the width is 75 by 75. Okay, so nice little square, something like that. Not too big, not too small, just right. Goldilocks. So 75 by 75 for the size. For the text, I'm going to make the text be 0. 0. I'm going to go back up to my fonts. I'm going to make my font a little bit bigger. I don't want to make it too big. I also don't want to do any kind of weird fonts where the numbers aren't numbers anymore, because that can happen if you do like wingdings or something. So I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with like a 16-point Tahoma font. Okay. If we want to change the colors, we can. We can go to back color, and let's do, I don't know, just pick a color. Gold. That looks nice. Nice little UCLA Bruins colors. And we got foreground color. I don't know. White. Why not? Nice little color contrast there. All right, so here's how the game is going to be played. You have learned so far how to click the button. But there are other things you can do in Windows besides click. So let me show you some of the possibilities here, and we'll talk more about some of these things as we go forward. So typically we have double clicked on the button to do the code for clicking the button, right? Well, here it's going to be different. Instead of double clicking, I'm going to go back to code. I'm going to either do the tab here, or I'm going to go to view, code here to go into the code. Right? Now what I'm focusing on these drop downs here, the 3 drop downs. The one at the top left, there's nothing to change because like this is our program. Catch me if you can. So top left one doesn't matter. Don't worry about that one. It's the 2 over here that matter. The one in the middle shows you your objects. So on form 1 you have the events of form 1, and then you have button 1. You want to do something with button 1 where when you touch it with your mouse, something happens. Just like when we say click, like click the button, something happens. Here, I'm going to do the drop down to say button 1. Now, nothing's going to happen yet, but that's okay. I'm going to go over to the right side drop down now. All of these things, if I go all the way back up top, all of these things are the actions that you can do to a button in Windows. Now, let's be honest, 90% of these, you're going to have no idea what they are. Neither do I. I mean, there's tons of things in here I would have no idea what they are, and that's okay. Because in the context of this class, we don't need to worry about. We're going to stick with some of the basics, like there's our good friend click. Okay? We're not going to do click, though, but like there's double click. There's the drag, drag something over. We're going to go down to mouse, enter. Mouse, enter, and then click it, and watch what happens. It generates the subroutine for it. It spawns the code for, hey, this code is what happens when you enter the mouse on the button. In other words, you touched it with your mouse. You have, imagine the button boundary is like a little fence. You've crossed the fence. So here's what I want to have happen. When I touch this, remember the game is called Catch Me If You Can. When I touch this thing with my mouse, I want it to go somewhere else on my form, randomly. So here's what I do. Let me quickly go back to design, and you guys don't have to, just watch mine. Everything in Visual Basic, I don't know if you've noticed this yet or not, everything is a rectangle of some kind. And of course, squares are rectangles. Everything is measured based off of a couple of different coordinates. It is measured off of the location. If I open up the location, it's XY, right? But then it's also based off of a size, which is the width and the height. So in our code, if I want to talk about the coordinates of this square / rectangle, or anything, whether it's the form itself, whether it is any of the other tools, here's how I do it. I say button1 dot left. When you say that, look at the little pop-up there that comes up. It says gets or sets the distance in pixels between the left edge of the control and the left edge of its container's client area. Wow, is that complicated? What the heck does that mean? Here's what it means. Let me just say 0 here. just as a quick, easy test of this. All right, I'm going to run this and watch what happens. All right, see, there's my button. I'm approaching my button. The suspense is building. When I touch it, the left side of the button is on the left side of the form, the client area. So I've assigned 0. So it's not the left side of the screen, it's the left side of the form. 0 is on the left. Remember what we set the right side to? Go back to our design, go to the properties of the form. 1000 on the right side. Okay, now watch this. If I put in 1000, this is where you got to be a little careful. If I say when I touch it, I'm going to go, so the button is at 1000. All right, here we go. It's gone. Where'd it go? Well, where it went, and I can't resize this, is the left edge of the button is on the right edge of the form, so we can't see it anymore. It's off the edge. The right side of this is really like 999. So 1000 means it's over here in limbo somewhere. It's still technically there, it's just we can't see it because it's off the coordinates of the form. Now, how big is our button? Remember, we made it 75 by 75. Let's do a little bit of math. So the right side of the form is 1000, so we're going to say 999, right? Because 0 to 999 is 1000 total. 999, take away 75, 924. Watch where my button is now. When I touch it, boop, there it goes. Now, it's off a tiny bit, right? And this is one of the frustrating things about this, is that it should be perfectly on, right? Well, see, the problem is that you have also these little paddings around objects. Like, see how our button actually has, like, see when I'm highlighting it, when I put the mouse over it, it goes from like blue to white. So it's going to be off a tiny little bit. The same thing happens when you go top to bottom, because the title bar is going to mess that up. So again, let me just show you something real quick. So just like there's the left edge, if I do the top edge, if I do the top equals 0, right? The top equals 0, the button is going to be, look right there. It's going to be on the top edge. 0, 0, the origin of the screen is in the top left corner of a graphics window. It's not this dead center like algebra. It's not the Cartesian plane. 0, 0 is not in the middle. 0, 0 is in the top left corner when you do graphics on a computer. Everything is measured from across down from the top left corner. Now, remember, I said that up and down, the whole thing is 800, right? So if I do 800, the top of the button is going to be at 800. Well, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be off the screen once again. You can't see it because the bottom of that's 799. So 799 is the bottom pixel. Take away 75, the size of the button, and you get 724. So guess what's going to happen here? Is it going to be perfectly on the edge? No, it's going to be off a little bit because of some extra padding. Okay, so don't worry about that imprecision. We're just going to estimate. I'm going to do a random number to say I'm going to make my button move, but I'm going to do it not to the full extent because I don't want the button to dance off the edge and I can't play my game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say button 1 left equals int rnd times. Now again, the full range of the whole screen is 1000. We know the right side take away 75 would be 925, right? The right side is 0, or the left side is 0, so I don't need to put a plus 0 there. That's not a concern. But once again, 925 is cutting it way too close. So like you are still going over the edge because of the extra padding. So I'm just going to do it to like maybe 900. And that'll be good enough because why not? Like we don't have to be super on the nose with this. Button 1 dot top int rnd times And once again, the whole thing up and down is 800. Take away 75 is 725. But let's just go with like 700. So you got to do a little bit of math. It's just some basic coordinate geometry. And remember, all objects in Visual Basic are measured from the top left corner, which is, I know this is an awkward way to say it, but I'm going to say the left top corner because that's really X and Y. The top left corner of the screen, of the form screen, is 0, 0. That's the origin. All objects in Visual Basic are rectangles. In addition to left comma top, you may refer to the width and the height. Now, the reason I'm mentioning that is because there's no variable really that you can set the right side or the bottom side. You need to do a little bit of math, and we'll talk about that later. I don't want to get you crazy confused right now. But with the random numbers, I want you to watch what happens. So with those 2 lines of code, here's what we got. Put this in the middle. It's going to dance away from us. Every time we touch it, it goes away. Okay, now I have 0 on there. The reason I have 0 on there is because I want to add 1 to my count every time I touch it. Well, every time we touch it, I'm going to say whatever equals whatever plus 1. Well, what's the whatever? Text. Button1.text equals button1.text plus 1. Button1.text plus 1. Now, every time you touch it, it's going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just need, excuse me, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on. All right. Let's say you want to end when you get to 10. You do an if statement. Remember those? If button1.text equals 10, then let's make a little message box. Message box saying you win. And then to stop the program, the word end. Notice if statements are a tiny bit different. This is a single equals. You have the word then, not a colon. Instead of indenting it, you end it with this end if, which is spawned automatically. We'll do much more with if statements in the future, but this is what an if statement looks like in Visual Basic. Just wanted to kind of throw that and introduce it to you. They're not terribly different. It's still the same concept. If this thing is true or false, then do this, and then otherwise you can do this. Yes, there's else. Yes, there's elif and all that stuff. There's ands, there's ors, there's less than, greater than. We'll get to all that. So the language is still the same concept, just slightly different. So now, we run this little game. Here we go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You win. And the game's over. And that happens sometimes in the new version of Visual Basic. That's so weird. Well, if that happens, just hit stop. Some of your computers that might not happen to. Let me see. What can I type instead of end? I don't think stop is a thing. Stop, I think, is just going to. And let's see if stop works any better. Like I said, every now and then they just update stuff, and I know on certain computers in here that's worked, certain ones it hasn't. Yeah, see, it's doing the same thing. It's something to do, like if this is not happening on your home computer, I think it's something to do with the way the school computers are set up. I could also try application.exit. See if that works any better. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You win. Okay, so that one did work. All right, so we'll go with this. We'll go with application.exit for a safe way to end the program. Not end, not stop, but application.exit. Why? Because I have no idea. Welcome to computers, everybody. All right. Take care and hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to enhance this or change this in any way. Have a great one. Take care.